Right, we're back. And I'm going to say it, this is a second take. Benny S will go with. Benny may have double pushed the button and makes it a little bit hard. Dave Miles, firstly, thank you very much for joining me.
Welcome to winter, Paulie.
It is very cold. I picked on the jacket. I thought you belonged in Japan. We've already stood out here for 10 minutes doing an interview that just didn't happen. Good to see we've got the man giggling. What we're going to do, Dave, we've done a podcast, what you look for in a yearling, and you discussed about how you measure horses out. I got a bit of feedback from people. They'd love to see what you do. So going to get you to just explain the process. And this horse will probably surprise a few people because this is an art major at a better pick. It is lot 230 going through a little bit later on in the sale. And you opened my eyes a lot to what happens when you do actually do the measuring.
Yeah, I got a bit of feedback after that podcast too, Paulie. People messaged me on how we go about it and how to do it. And it's very simple. If you've got a bit of string, you've got a lead rope, you can do anything. Personally, I use a tape measure, pinch one of Mum's sewing tape measures. It needs to be about 40 inches long. I haven't had a horse with a leg any longer than about 35. So as long as it's 40 inches long, we just go to the point of the elbow from the top of here to the middle of his fetlock. So
I'll just let you do that, Dave, so you don't get kicked, and just concentrate, because that's one thing people need to be aware of too. You're doing something to an unhandled young horse that you can get a little bit of a kick from, and Dave's just got it there, and I'll get you to go from now, Dave.
So we just double the string up on top of him, so it's reading at 26 inches there to the top of his wither, and yet where my thumb was the length of his leg, at just over 30 inches. So he's got about 4 inches to grow, this big colt. Thanks, fella. And he's been an absolute gem to stand there.
You reckon he's done it before, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd think he's been an absolute gem. Yeah, he's got 4 inches to grow, and I think he'll make a 2-year-old, especially now with the seasons changing. I think he's definitely will make a breeder's crown or a sire's. Not sure that I'd push him completely for a Bathurst breeder's crown, Bathurst gold crown. The one thing that we don't know is when they're going to grow. So even though he's got 4 inches to grow, as long as he has a healthy lifestyle between now and Christmas time, he doesn't get stressed, he doesn't get too sick, he should knock off 2 of those inches by then. And that 4 inches he's got to grow, it will probably take him to 5. That it's within about an inch, but by the time they're 5-year-old, nearly every horse is fully grown.
I found that strange, and like we've made a joke of it being the second take, and we already had this discussion, but it's still strange to me that you say 5 inches to grow on a horse that size, yet he'll make a 2-year-old, because it sort of flies in the face of visually what you see, because he's got 3-year-old written all over him. He's a big built horse, and all the rest. And when you say he's got 5 inches to grow, I'm thinking, well, that's a lot of growing, but you're saying that's not actually that much.
No, it's about standard. 4 inches is anything under 5. I would think that I could get that horse to the races at 2. So he, while he's a big upstanding horse now, he's probably 15.2 there now. He's going to finish up 16, maybe 16.1. But as long as he can carry it and he's finished growing, it's not unlike seeing a 6-foot kid playing football in under 16s that's just bigger and stronger and ready to go. He could be that horse. So I would have no qualms in saying to owners, pay up for all the early futurities.
That is key. Brooklyn Lodge have done a great job, and we've taken the mickey out of Benny a couple of times, but we must say very well thank you. They've been amazing here at the sales. They've got such a big draft. They've been going through them. Mal, she prayed in all theirs, like running around like a headless chook. I think she missed about 2 of their lots. And then I saw her a bit later on, she was prayed one of Steve Dixon's just for something different to do.
Mel, is I think she's a yearling sale tragic. One of the most amazing horsewomen I've ever seen. I've been fortunate enough to spend some time at Brooklyn Lodge and seen her handle the babies. And anybody that wants a horse reared properly could not recommend them highly enough.
Right, sales complex, we're here to buy horses. How have you been? You've purchased a couple.
Yeah, we had a bit of luck last night. Actually, had a lot of luck. We bought, he's watching colt off Shannon Nixon. Got him well and truly under what the radar was and what we thought. We paid $12,000 for him. Just a out-and-out racehorse. He hasn't got a lot to grow. He'll be a jump and run 2-year-old and very athletic. Great-looking little colt. And the He's Watchings have just been fantastic bread and butter horses. Obviously, had the superstar in America, Tattoo Artist, but this horse is type typical of the He's Watchings, and we were wrapped to get him, and coming off the Nixon farm, who just keep producing winners year in, year out, we were wrapped. And then we stole her down by the seaside. A lot of Australian and New Zealand buyers might be, from Woodland Stud. They might be a little surprised when I say I stole him for $40,000, considering his service fee's not that high. But his yearlings averaged $45,000 in America last year, and he had 9 horses over $100,000 at the sales in the States. as a leading trainer and driver here that was looking at the horse at the same time as me, he said if he was a treacherous or a Sunbeach, he'd have been over 100 easy. And I think I got him for half price. I was willing to go to double what we got him for. So he was an absolutely great colt. Bought him off Rob Watson, another great producer. They just grow winners and grow great horses. And we had a little bit of luck. His half-brother trialled at Melton last week by American Ideal, and he's probably one of the most promising 2-year-olds I've seen this season. So having a little bit of inside knowledge, getting to those trials, and of course that doesn't come up on the sheets. The vendors can tell people, but unless you actually see it, you can be a bit dubious. But Soho Dow Jones trialled last week at Melton, and he was fantastic.
I done a podcast with Mick Stanley. He actually mentioned him in that podcast. He's very, very high on that horse, so that's a great judge. Seaside, down by the seaside, he is fully booked already this year in America. You cannot get into him in America. That's how popular they are. You said Treacherous, Huntsville's. Everyone's keen on these Sunbeach somewhere, Colts, and all the rest. So I think that's a great buy. Wrap that you looked after my sponsors and everything else like that. How have you found this experience with Nutrien? How have you found the whole weekend?
I think it's been the best Standardbred sale I've ever seen in Australia. I've been lucky enough to go to Kentucky and go to the Yearling sales over there. I've been to New Zealand. New Zealand, the guys over there do it fantastic, but this has been easily the best Yearling sale I've ever seen in Australia. The Nutrien have just been fantastic, bending over backwards, not only for the vendors but for the buyers. The buyers' experience has been enormous, so I really do think they're kicking goals, and I can't wait to keep coming back here year in, year out.
Signage, sponsorship, all the rest, product placement. We had Dennis Picker walking his colt that's going through a bit later on. He's a real looker. There's a lot going on. You've got to get under the ball. It's key for young people in the industry, anyone that wants to get into this industry, to market yourself. You're not going to like me saying this, but guys that have been around for a little bit longer like yourself really got to lift the game as well. They're showing everyone what to do. You've got to lift your socks and really raise the bar, don't we?
Well, you do, but the beauty about most of the guys who are my age and been around for, I don't mind sharing the experience and the knowledge. These guys have got to get better. You don't like seeing young kids come into the game to, you see them buy a horse and think, oh, geez, we'd love to have been able to tug their coats and say, did you see what was wrong with that, or did you see what was wrong with this? And just find the faults. And the beauty with Standardbred horses is that they can carry faults a little bit more than a thoroughbred can, because we've got 2 feet on the ground at all times, whether it's trotting or pacing, and a galloper's only got 1 leg on the ground. We can carry a fault a little bit more, so we can be a little bit more forgiving in yearlings. But by the same token, you see some horses and some young fellas go, oh, I'll buy that because it's cheap. Well, sometimes they're cheap for a reason. You might be better off to put all your eggs in one basket and try and buy the one you want.
Yeah, and there's a lot of knowledge getting out there. There's a lot of interviews going out there. I've been fortunate enough to interview some very smart people that have some great ideas and theories behind it. You're one of them. Mick Stanley, Rob Watson, people that have a different way of looking at the yearling pedigrees. I've done a great conversation with Alan Parker, who's big on the pedigrees and how to read pedigrees as well. That is the one thing I've enjoyed about being a part of this association, is they want to get as much knowledge out there for people to do it properly and do it right.
Yeah, 100%, and that was the thing with the down by the seaside horse. That cross out of the Art Major mare, it just absolutely, they loved him in the States, and that's our barometer. America's still our barometer. We're still buying their stallions. We still watch their racing. Our guys are going over there and doing a great job, but it's still our barometer. So if you can take a line through them and what is being produced here and now, we're not far behind at all.
Dave Miles from Miles Racing, get involved. If you want to get involved, get on Facebook, follow him through Miles Racing. Otherwise, see him at the races, see him at the trots. He's got his phone number everywhere. There's no worries. He doesn't miss a little bit of badging. I can't believe he hasn't got it. He's got some super dry jacket. Who wears a super dry jacket when you could be wearing a Woodlands one? Don't worry about me.
When it's this cold, you want to see you wear plenty when it's this cold.
I'll look after Andrew Saper, Barristock, you name it. I can just rattle them off. Dave Miles, thank you very much, mate.
Thanks, Paulie.